brings laughter, joy, and more pain. When Jamie says,
"What's that, like 6 pills today?"
Yeah.
I can take 2 Relief for all-day relief.
Really?
And that's it.
this is
My name's Alyssa, and my life nearly ended at 19 using heroin. I know what it feels like to be hopeless, to feel trapped in your own body. I always had an excuse to get high, and it got in the way of me getting help. I thought I was gonna die this way, but then I did something about it. The compassion that was shown to me at the treatment center gave me that strength to live again. They believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Everyone knows someone affected by the disease of addiction. Please call the treatment center today.
Before the intervention, before I went to rehab, when it got really out of hand, I was calling out of work. I wasn't coming home. My husband and I were arguing. My responsibility to my business, to my clients, and to others just went completely out the door.
That's when we knew we had to do something. We needed to all jump in, and my son felt confident that this person could help, and he did. Since her intervention, she's an absolute delight, and I can't stop smiling when I see her.
If someone you know is struggling with drug or alcohol addiction, please call or visit us at interventionnow.com.
56. Or go to HumanaBigBook.com. The savings are too big to miss.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera. Oh my God! Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
All right, time now for a tropical update. Let's go ahead and get the globe out of the lab and see what we're going to go to here. And of course, you're talking about a huge tropical cyclone here, a typhoon named Pahanfan. And it is a big storm. It is going to impact Japan as we get into the latter part of the weekend. And in some cases, it actually could landfall. So that is what we're going to be talking about here, in addition to other things. Our threat for North America is going to be Simon, potentially next week as it comes to the north and then gets pulled back off to the northeast. Remember, I told you a few weeks ago how we were, watching the pattern evolve. You get these troughs, you get the jet stream to come a lot farther south this time of the year, so it can influence these tropical systems as they move north. And that's potentially what's going to happen here. 65 miles per hour. Simon will become, we think, a hurricane. It's very, very close to the island of Socorro right now. That's the island right there. The good news is it's 65 miles per hour as opposed to 155 miles per hour. That would be certainly a disaster for this little island. They have dealt with tropical systems in the past. It looks like a circulation center, maybe an eye trying to form right there. So it appears that Socorro is on the southwest side of the tropical system, which is kind of what this analysis product shows us. You'll notice where the strongest winds are up on the northeast side, which is what we would expect. So a little blow, little breeze, and a little rain for our friends in Socorro. Now, the National Hurricane Center does forecast this to become a hurricane as we work our way into the weekend. So we have to watch this track, because if it stays on the east side of the track, it may stay over some pretty warm water here for its entire life cycle and may not weaken as much. But what happens toward the early to middle part of next week is we'll have a trough of low pressure. Whoa, what did I just say? Oh, no. I just hit, there we go. All right. I just lost my telestrator. So let's just do this whole thing voice-wise and go to max 8 here, guys. Just go right to max 8 and just pull it up full. Sometimes if you just hit enough of a wrong spot there, you kind of lose the max. So anyway, the point is that it's going to be picked up and potentially pulled into the central Baja, and then it's going to move across Mexico and Texas. It's a much weaker system, but the moisture could be there. So there's Pahanfan, again, a very strong tropical cyclone here with winds at 130 miles per hour. Look at the eye on that thing, about 45 miles wide, and it's jogged a little bit to the west, which is worrisome because that keeps it, of course, on a line for Japan. It has to make a much sharper turn. You can see some of that forcing over China that's eventually going to start to pull this thing off toward the north and then eventually off toward the northeast. But look at the circulation. Even a close call offshore means we will have wind and squally weather on the island of Japan, the mainland. Now, this is the actual probability cone. All right. It does not take into account what the forecasters of the Joint Typhoon Warning Center are thinking. They actually have the entire main island in the cone, and the GFS, the American model, actually landfalls this on what is called the Kii Peninsula, KII Peninsula. Little towns called Tanaba and Gobo are potentially in line for this as we work our way into Sunday afternoon, our time. That's our time. So go 13 hours ahead for Japan time. And look at that. Still a center of circulation. Very close to Mount Ontake as we go into Sunday evening, our time as well. So this could be a big player for the mainland in China with big impacts coming up here, even into Tokyo Bay, especially if that track verifies. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Jim. Well, the Weather Channel premieres Wicked Weather Sundays this weekend during prime time. It all starts with a new season of The Strangest Weather on Earth, followed by our newest show, American Supernatural. Take a look.
Legend has it, a witch was to blame for the fatal cold, and the colonists were out for blood.
They were willing to do whatever it took to save their town, even if it meant murder.
American Supernatural, premiering Sunday at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 75. Chance of rain 50%. Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 87. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
This is incredible. You can feel the chill in the air. This is not like a summertime thunderstorm. This is literally the change of seasons here in east central Mississippi. This wind now gusting upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Look at this horizontal rain, leaves blowing everywhere. Woo!
Incredible weather and incredible damage in so many spots throughout the southern plains and the deep south, even the mid-south. This is in Texas, Arlington, Texas. Roof gone. At least part of a roof gone. If you were watching us here on Weather Center Live, the 7 Eastern edition, we went late into the early morning hours covering this. We're going to break it down for you. We're looking back at what happened with Storm Tracker Jim Cantore and our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes. We're also keeping an eye on what's happening right now. We do have some new video from yesterday that we're going to show as well. Also, check in with meteorologist Mike Seidel. But right now, Jim, what are you looking at? The threat for more storms and also big changes on the way with cooler air moving in.
I mean, all those areas that were hit yesterday are in the clear. All right, the almost 350 wind reports alone that we had yesterday, 90% of those, of course, were of all the reports we had yesterday, 90% of them were wind reports. So a much, much different air mass, Chris, and it's kind of cool. This is the unstable air here, which is quickly getting pushed out into the Atlantic. Behind that, the front has come through. The air is drier, but this is the core of the cold air. And as a matter of fact, up in Duluth, we've actually had some rain and snow mixed. Enough for a trace of snow today, which is a new record tied back in 1970, recording that trace of snow. So what's going on? A little instability here in South Carolina. That's kind of an area of interest right now because of the thunderstorms that we're getting. There's actually some spin still left over in the low layers of the atmosphere. So we're getting these appendages on some of these storms. There's one east of Columbia. There's another one up here to the north of Camden. Look at that little hook there down near Orangeburg. But they're just not rotating that strongly. Okay, and that's the good news in through here. If we just show this storm here near Dalzell, you'll notice again they're not getting much, but if we go back a couple of scans, even just one, you can see we've got a little bit more of a signature here. So maybe some small hail with this. Again, not very, very strong rotation at all when you look at the storm relative velocity. But if this, if this thing pops out a tornado warning, we will obviously come on the air with it. So there's a slight chance. The Storm Prediction Center put out a discussion on that. It's a very low probability of this and a low probability of issuing a watch. So it'll be a very isolated incident at best. Rains now, at least the core of the moisture, moving into Cedar Key, Spring Hill, probably into Tampa. They've already moved through Jacksonville. We had some stormy weather in Miami, which seems to be clearing out for a nice evening down there in Miami-Dade County.
All right, Jim, thank you. We're going to keep an eye on the storm threat for this evening, but right now we're going to start our recap and in-depth analysis of what happened last night. We're going to get Jim's take here in a moment, but right now let's start off with our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes.
Yesterday's storm is a big widespread windstorm that we give a special name, derecho. A derecho is a long-lived thunderstorm complex. That means a group of thunderstorms, particularly strong winds, has damaging wind swaths that go over 240 miles, and often there are patches within that have winds over 75 miles per hour. And that's certainly what we had yesterday. Derechos often begin as a little line of thunderstorms that then gets older, grows laterally, and then as it gets older and older, can develop some mid-level rotation that forms it into a comma, or like a comma head, the punctuation mark, and the combination of damaging winds at its crest and some of that mid-level rotation can really surge it forward in this backward C, what we call a bow echo. Now, the winds in the bow echo are partly derived from thunderstorm downdrafts, rain-cooled air that brings down the winds from aloft, as well as that surging forward on the south flanks of that mid-level, low pressure center. And there's some rising motion on the edge of that, some strong wind gusts typically right on the leading edge of this bow echo. Now, yesterday it was a big squall line with several mini bow echoes that were embedded in that. One of them headed to just north of Memphis, others across parts of Arkansas and Texas and Louisiana. And so in total, we had bow echoes here and here and here, so that this was what we call a serial derecho. It wasn't just one bow, but several, making the entirety of these damaging wind reports. And one of them, for example, went well over 250 miles there, 336 approximately, from parts of Oklahoma into parts of western Tennessee. So sometimes it's not just damaging winds either. In this case, near Steele, Missouri, there was a little surge forward of the bow there and some inflow there, so you can get circulations in around that location. And we look at the Doppler velocities, and there was some pretty strong rotation showing up there, so a possible tornado even formed on the shifting winds at the leading edge of this derecho. Back to you.
Our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes, thank you. And storm tracker Jim Cantore here. And Jim, you were covering almost the entirety of that derecho, and I was with you for at least the second half of that. And what stands out after several hours of coverage? What stands out in your mind after this event?
Well, at one point you kind of get in there and you figure, okay, now we're going to have something that's just not going to stop. We're starting to get report after report of the same thing. Power poles snapped, power lines down, trees snapped, power outages, and we just kind of knew, especially looking at the weather and in the upper levels of the atmosphere, this was just going to be driven off to the Tennessee and Mississippi River Valley.
And you made the call to stay on 2 hours later than we had planned to go off.
We're not going to leave you when there's severe weather going on. So that's what we're going to do, and that's our mission here at the Weather Channel. So let's talk about this, Chris. I mean, you could really see it on the water vapor kind of take shape. This big trough that we've got now. I mean, look at this jet just diving to the south and then taking a big turn up through Missouri. And that's quite frankly why we don't have much today. All the energy with the jet stream is kind of tucked back in here as opposed to driving across the warm, moist air. So a big difference, obviously, in the results of the two. But there you go, 344 reports total. 241 of them were wind damage, 65 were the actual wind measurements. You add that together, that's, what is that, 306? Yeah, so 306 out of the 344. We had 4 tornadoes. 2 of them have been confirmed so far today, one in Alabama and the other one in Kentucky. So pretty impressive. Here it is again, watching this whole thing go down. One of the things I thought was interesting out of Arlington, Texas, and we were talking about this live yesterday, Chris, is the only measurement we had was 75 miles an hour. But the Weather Service said, look, we're not seeing any tornado damage right now, but we are seeing damage associated with winds that could be around 90 to 95 miles per hour, which is what we were saying. We thought we would have a stronger wind than was actually measured. Sometimes you just don't have an anemometer where the worst damage is.
Right. So let's take a look at some of that damage right now, if we could, just to kind of recap just how powerful these storms were and what happened with that. And we have been seeing still a lot of video coming in, and this right here showing, we were watching this last night, Jim, and this was as the storm was happening, and these winds eventually went on to rip roofs off buildings and cause some big-time damage.
Yeah, these are probably like 65, 70 miles per hour. There are news crews out there covering the Ebola issue in Dallas, and wow. And remember, it was 90 before that, and then it went down into the upper 60s, and then afterward getting into, again, the 70s this afternoon.
And throughout this hour, we're counting down the top 5 videos, and here's one also as the storms were moving through in Arlington, Texas. This is number 5. The rest of your top 5 videos coming up.
Okay, Patrick, one more stop. Let's go base, shark, blitz. Base, shark, blitz.
When the game's on the line.
Okay, this is for the game.
The NFL trusts Duracell Quantum to power their game day communication.
Plug like this, on. Abort, he's keeping it.
Duracell Quantum lasts up to 35% longer than the competition.
That disease is for older people, not me. I take good care of myself. I'm active. I never saw it coming. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Pneumococcal pneumonia was horrible. The fatigue, the chest pains, difficulty breathing. It put me in the hospital. You don't want to go through what I did.
If you're over 50, talk to your doctor. You may be able to prevent it.
The Voice teams are almost full.
Yes!
And this Monday and Tuesday, get ready for an epic showdown.
Do you like clothes?
Please, be in my family.
Blake is looking for family members. I'm looking for stars.
What?
You got served.
The Voice is all new Monday and Tuesday, 8, 7 Central, followed by a new Blacklist on NBC.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms. Low 75. Chance of rain 50%. Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
On camera. Oh my God! Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight, wild weather at 8. Coming up next.
Let's stay a step ahead of this. Size up that and stay toasty in here. And let's not do any of this. Let's go to school. Let's go to save. And then let's go to town. So we can enjoy the view and look for what's next. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Get Atticat loose fill blown-in insulation for just $29.68.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse? The bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
Are you sure we should take this billboard down?
People find out State Farm does car loans as well as they do insurance. Our bank is through.
Good point. Grab an edge.
Look, there's 2 guys on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
No, for real, there's 2 dudes on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
Breaking news from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
Seeing 2 men that have climbed the Borrow Better banking sign.
Gentlemen, please get down from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign. Phil, get the hose. Okay, he's getting the hose.
All right, let's go.
Talk to a State Farm agent about car loans that can save you hundreds. That's borrowing better.
Wow, that's a good gust there.
That's meteorologist Mike Seidel. We're going to watch his whole report as the storm was going through, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Basically, we're watching when it's not raining, wind picks up, comes through, and then it dies down.
Yeah, he was about 30 miles east of Little Rock last night when we watched the squall line move on through. But what a change now in Little Rock.
Right.
They're actually behind into the deep cold air that's coming on down. So temperatures are going to drop like a rock tonight. Let me just show you this. You know, the first cold front, the significant cold front that's produced all the weather is this one in through here. It continues to charge east through Atlanta and through Pittsburgh. Behind that, though, Chris, this is the leading edge of the real cold air. And you look at this, you say, well, this doesn't look like a cold front. If it's still, okay, it's 74 in Atlanta, but it's 78 behind the cold front in New Orleans. Well, yes, the sun's out, and we really haven't seen a significant air mass change. That's back in here. That's behind this cold front right in through here. And the way you can tell that is by looking at the surface moisture. Deep tropical air ahead of this. We've got obviously modified air behind that, and then here's the cold polar air with the low dew point. So low moisture content, temperatures are going to drop like a rock at night because there's no moisture to absorb the heat, the radiation.
All right, well, because of what Jim's talking about, meteorologists Mike Seidel and Alex Wilson are tracking the fall cool down. Hello to both of you.
Good evening, guys. We're out here at Eupora High School in Eupora, Mississippi, and the weather, as Jim and Chris just mentioned, is ideal for football. It's going to get even chillier tonight because the drier air is coming in. We're right around 70 right now. Winds have backed off as the sun goes down here in central Mississippi.
Yeah, the weather has really been the talk of everybody showing up. We're beginning to see more people arrive. Tommy, you're one of the super fans. You've lived here in Eupora, played on the team, supported the team since the 50s. You guys see everything from hot and humid to chilly. How about tonight? What do you think of it?
Beautiful, beautiful. I know y'all are the weather people, and if y'all had anything to do with bringing this in here, we thank you.
We like to take some credit, and I know you told me that your jobs here are yelling at the refs and eating nachos. Can't get much better for that, right?
That's right. Got the easiest job in the world. Love it. Been doing it for years.
Awesome. And Greg is the president of the Booster Club, father of the quarterback. Tell us a little bit about the team, what they deal with on a regular basis, and just how good they are. You were telling me.
Well, they've done real good since we moved here from South Lake, Texas. We made the playoffs every year, and it's a very competitive bunch of kids. They really enjoy what they do, and we don't know what to do with the humidity disappearing, but we're not going to complain at all.
No, you got to work with that. Looking forward to an exciting game tonight, and they're doing really well for the year, 6-0 so far.
Yeah, unbeaten. And the big change here is some of the earlier games this season, the heat index was over 100 degrees. For homecoming, they had an early homecoming. The heat index was up around 100. So even yesterday, we were in the low 90s. So it's a complete turnaround.
Whole different ball game. And, speaking of ball games, we've got more headed our way for the upcoming weekend. We are going to be headed to Ole Miss tomorrow to hang out in the Grove, do some tailgating, and then we're going to wrap things up with a little beer. Oktoberfest.
Yeah, we're going to be up in North Georgia, up in Cantori's neck of the woods. Maybe we can get Jim out of his burrow on Sunday morning.
I think if you just text him, Jim, there will be beer.
Out of my burrow.
Probably a good bet that we can get him to come, right?
Yeah, right? I'll tell you, you're going to a great place, Mercier's up there. Oh my gosh, the apple cider will be flowing. Yep. Big time.
It's a good time. Thank you both very much. And we're going to check back in with Mike and hear his thoughts on his coverage from last night. We're going to show you what that looked like in just a little bit. But cooler air, Jim, is moving in.
It really is. It's unstoppable now. Those low dew points are charging to the southeast. But damage left behind as that charge ensued, Chris. Unfortunately for folks in Arlington, Texas, a memorable building, an old historic building, now torn to pieces.
That's our number 4 video, the number 1 coming up.
View from Above, brought to you by Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Explore more at tourksc.com.
What do astronauts eat? Have lunch with one and find out. Only at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Meet real astronauts, see Space Shuttle Atlantis, and experience firsthand the future of America's space exploration.
Snack time!
On it.
Isn't this my breakfast cereal?
It's also a snack.
So it's snack-real.
Clever.
Your favorite cereals at any time of day. All at unbeatable Walmart prices. Guaranteed by Savings Catcher. Save money, live better. Walmart.
This is Gordon. Downtown for a sales call. West Side for a presentation. Meeting after meeting after meeting. That's why Gordon stops at Exxon and Mobil for fuels that help his engine run cleaner, smoother, and with better fuel economy. So he can make it to the meeting that matters most. Gordon is energy. Exxon and Mobil. Energy lives here.
We're 3 generations of one family working on a piece of land here.
Oh my God, it's basketball!
Is living and facing danger every day. Alaska: The Last Frontier. New season on Discovery. A party?
Hi, I'm new Ensure Active Clear Protein Drink.
Clear, huh? My nutritional standards are high.
I'm not juice or fancy water. I've got 8 grams of protein.
Twist my lid. That's 3 times more than me.
17 vitamins and minerals.
And 0 fat.
You'll bring a lot to the party.
Yay!
New Ensure Active Clear Protein. 8 grams protein, 0 fat, 17 vitamins and minerals. And delicious blueberry pomegranate and mixed fruit. Take life in.
Away is as much about getting there as it is being there. Away is where the days are packed with wonder. And the evenings are filled with familiar comforts. Find your away. For a dealer in the RV that's right for you, visit GoRVing.com.
The Voice teams are almost full.
Yes!
And this Monday and Tuesday, get ready for an epic showdown.
Do you like clothes?
Please, be in my family.
Blake is looking for family members. I'm looking.
As women, we always talk about how we should look or what's the best way to lose weight. But for me, it finally became all about how I feel. I looked in the mirror and I saw what I didn't want to see, the truth. I was 50 pounds overweight. It was a rough day. That's when I decided I had to lose weight. So I chose the only simple option for me, Nutrisystem.
And now, with Fast 5 from Nutrisystem, you can lose weight fast. Lose 5 pounds in your first week or your money back guaranteed.
I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Order your 28-day My Way plan right now, including Fast 5. Get 1 week of specially designed meals, plus 1 week of energizing shakes free, and 1 week of Craving Crusher shakes free.
So why do I keep telling you about Nutrisystem? Because it works, and I know it'll work for you.
Plus, check out our Nutrisystem D program for people with type 2 diabetes.
Call 877-384-DIET and lose your first 5 pounds fast.
Free 1000. Ready for a new breed of broker? There's a name for people like you. Trade King. Switch today.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera. Oh my God! Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild Weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees with thunderstorms in the area. Tonight, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms. Low, 75. Chance of rain, 50%. Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High, 87. Chance of rain, 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You're watching Weather Center Live, and we are watching the tropics. Typically, for this time in October, this is the area we would see development in the Atlantic Basin. The Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, back out toward the Atlantic. But untypically, we are seeing no tropical storms, no invests, really very exceptionally clear for this time of year, unseasonably so. We have seen many Octobers in the past that have had numerous tropical cyclones, but it is just about as clear as it can be in the Atlantic. Not so for the Eastern Pacific. Anything but. What an active season it's been. Now we have our 18th 18th named storm of the season. Tropical Storm Simon, with winds of 65 miles per hour, moving toward the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour, is expected to strengthen into a hurricane this weekend, and then gradually making a move toward the north and then off toward the northeast, eventually probably by midweek moving into Baja, just a shadow of its former self with 40-mile-per-hour winds or less. But what it's going to do, like so many other tropical storms and hurricanes in the eastern Pacific this season, all this moist air is going to get drawn up into the southwestern United States. So southern Arizona, New Mexico, West Texas, even into western Oklahoma need to be on guard for some heavy rainfall come next week and maybe even some flash flooding. All right, let's go across the international date line. Talk about our typhoon here. This is Panphone making its way toward Japan. It is strong, it is large, not a super typhoon, but it is the equivalent of a major hurricane. And we will see it make its way toward Japan, moving near the coastline, maybe just offshore, definitely affecting the islands, maybe the mainland as well, with some strong and powerful winds. Not the major category winds, but maybe 80-mile-per-hour winds. But we will see some impacts there from some heavy rainfall too. And then we've got Tropical Storm Vonfong. Look where it's going to go. And as it gains strength to a typhoon, probably right over the island of Guam. So Guam, Japan, need to be on your guard this weekend for some major tropical activity. Chris?
Vic, thank you very much. It's now time for a view from above, and we're going to analyze it from the lab. And let's take a look at it right now. Jim, take it away.
Yeah, this is from the MODIS satellite image, and it has some special lenses on here, Chris, that can really take a look at different things. And in this case, what you're looking at is clear skies and the foliage, the colors of the maple species that are so prevalent up here in this part of the world, and they show up on this MODIS satellite image. This is from what we call a polar orbiter. It goes from the South Pole to the North Pole and crosses the equator about noontime and pretty much circles the Earth in a couple of days. So you get an idea, kind of a north-south cut of what it looks like. And you can take these terracotta lenses or whatever they are, the imagers, and kind of focus on certain areas. And as you can see there, you can see the fall colors. And
fall colors. The leaves from space.
The leaves from space, buddy.
That's pretty cool.
Many thousands of miles up looking down. It's incredible.
You're also your storm tracker, but also the Leaf Chief, and it is Friday. So what does that mean, Jim?
It's Foliage Friday, and I told everybody if they sent me their pictures, I would get them on the air, and I apologize for anyone that I missed. But you sent so many. All right. Here we go. I think this is actually... this is Massachusetts, wasn't it, Patrick? Or is this Ithaca? What do we have it labeled as?
It says Ithaca.
Yeah, I thought maybe it is Ithaca. That's
Ithaca.
What happens when I got 20. Yeah. 20 coming in. Matt Seymour, look at that. The leaves look as good on the ground as they do on the tree.
That's great.
Right? They look as good on the ground.
A little bit of blue in the sky.
Oh, just epic. Just an epic fall day here. Moving on to the next shot here. Just a great shot from Ithaca. Starting to see kind of the downside of fall.
Oh, look at that.
All right. But look at this. Somebody said earlier it looks like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh, or
right?
Tricks.
Or Tricks.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tricks
it really does. That's Vermont, ladies and gentlemen. Groton State Forest there, just south of Route 2. If you've ever driven from St. Johnsbury, Vermont, over to Montpelier, the state capital, that's where you found it. Show your fall colors.
All right, real quick, let's show you the number 3 video of the day, Fort Smith, Texas. And how about this for some storms moving through? And then there's this.
Temperatures now dropped about 10 to 15 degrees, and those winds now gusting at about 30 to 30. Well, look out here.
Dad, I know I haven't said this often enough, but thank you.
Thank you, Mom, for protecting my future.
Thank you for being my hero and my dad.
Military families are uniquely thankful for many things. The legacy of USAA Auto Insurance could be one of them. If you're a current or former military member or their family, get an auto insurance quote and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
Hi, welcome. Hi. I have a boyfriend, Gene.
I definitely like the dark. They don't have sizes.
No sizes?
Can I measure you?
Sure.
You are radiant.
Oh.
Confident.
I'm size strong. I like that size. I got a compliment from Jeans today. I feel so good. To feel amazing, I think that's what makes a woman beautiful.
It's not every day that you find yourself at the corner of a little flu shot
and a world of difference. When you get any immunization at Walgreens, you'll help provide a life-saving vaccine to a child in a developing country through the UN Foundation's Shot at Life campaign. Thanks to customers like you, last year we helped supply 3 million vaccines to children in need. This year, help give even more. It's easy at Walgreens. Simply get a shot and give a shot. At the corner of happy and healthy.
Need new tires? Right now at Pep Boys, when you buy 3 select tires, you get the 4th tire free, instantly. Plus, get up to $80 off select Cooper and Hankook tires. Trust the boys to get you there.
Apples are good, and Strongbow Hard Cider better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse? The bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
Take a deep breath in and exhale. And a gentle wave-like motion. Liberate your spine. And reach, toes blossoming.
Not that great at yoga.
Yeah, but when I slipped a disc, he paid my claim in just 4 days.
4 days?
Yep.
See why speed matters at Aflac.com.
Since 1902, Carrier has been inventing new ways to make people comfortable. And today, comfort can also mean efficiency. Because being more efficient with your home heating can mean spending less on it. And that's something everyone can get comfortable with. If you're ready for Carrier Comfort, now you can get cool cash rebates of up to $1,450 on a new system. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Let's get weather geeky this morning. I'm going to kind of walk you through the life cycle steps of a tornado, including what first begins as a funnel cloud. As it gets organized, that funnel comes all the way down to the ground. You often then see debris. Look at the shape it takes on, very cylindrical. Then gradually dissipates. Crazy stuff.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees with thunderstorms in the area. Tonight, Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Wildest weather ever caught on camera.
Oh my God!
Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight, Wild Weather at 8. Coming up next.
Whoa! Wow, that's a good guess there.
It could have been a lot worse if we didn't get out on time, and I just feel like we are all very lucky.
Lucky, as you look at the damage from the strong winds. But not everyone was lucky. A man in Malvern, Arkansas was killed when a tree fell on his home. We're going to break down more of the damage coming up here on the 7 Eastern edition of Weather Center Live. A sad and a rough day for a lot of people after these storms rolled through. Jim was here tracking it live, and he's going to look back now after a day to sleep on it. We're going to look back at some of the incredible video that we've seen. But right now, we want to get to something else that we're looking right now, the active weather. Fortunately, no major storms right now, but something interesting happening, Jim.
No, with this transition, I thought I'd transition radar-wise. You know, sadly, with the tree that fell on this person's home, the home was probably the safest place to be, quite frankly, just to be inside, you know, and not out on the roads, and certainly not in your car with something like that going on. So that, that breaks my heart. Looking at some snow here, though, Chris, around Bemidji. Duluth's already had a trace today. That's a new record for them. We've had snow accumulating in the north woods of Wisconsin here. So don't be surprised to get maybe a dusting to an inch of snow here, especially now the sun's going down, so it probably will have a little bit better chance to stick. It'll be the grassy surfaces, it'll be the tree leaves and whatnot, but I don't think we're going to see it heavy enough to cause any problems here. This is probably heavy rain coming down.
Bright banding?
I'm looking at the correlation coefficient.
You think it's actually heavy rain?
Yeah, I do think it's heavy rain coming on down, but we'll know in a little bit because it's going to come right into Duluth. 38 degrees rain, but they've already had, as I mentioned, a little bit of snow.
All right, now let's go ahead and take a look back from last night. We're going to show you Mike Seidel's full report from when the storm blew through his location, and then we're going to hear from him. But right now, let's hear from Storm Tracker Jim Cantori as we look at some of the videos, starting off as the storm was moving through parts of Texas.
Yeah, here we go. This is Dallas, again, just outside the hospital. The TV crews there covering the Ebola situation, and they just got hammered. It was 90 degrees, and basically the same squall line that hit to Arlington moved east and into the Dallas area. And as you can see, just hammered these news crews. These guys doing everything they can to make you look good as a professional broadcaster. In this case, they're trying to save the equipment, all right? Because it's getting blown, it's getting rained on. Their cameras are on stilts, and if they're not tied down, they're going all over.
Talking about someone hanging on for dear life, Jim, look at this. Going through the windshield and looking at the car ahead of this person.
Yeah, I mean, we just got through with heavy rain. You can see the water on the road. Yeah, big spin out right there. You saw the headlights come right back at you. We'll play this again. You can see the, again, the roads are clearly wet and almost kind of have a little thin layer of water on them. And there's just enough oil in that water to cause it to be just like glass or ice, if you will.
And we also know, Jim, that so many power lines were taken down. In this case, over Interstate 20. Around the Dallas area and right into a car.
This was
scary
a big problem yesterday, with the kind of wind. And when you're talking about taking down a pole that size, completely down, not just snapped off, but I mean, this thing snapped off at the bottom. It just took the whole set of wires down. That's what we were talking about, the 90 to 95 miles per hour here with this, Chris. Closed down I-20 in both directions for several hours. We saw the traffic backed up on the KXAS chopper here, and it was just an awful situation. And thank goodness nobody was killed.
And at one point, almost 300,000 customers.
Yeah, I mean, look at that backup. Just look at that. Man.
Yeah. That's something else. And can you imagine also just how many power lines were down? We heard there were so many down. Some of them, of course, were live. Some of them possibly phone lines. But look at this. And this in North Arlington, Texas.
When these things first come down, I mean, remember, this is a tremendous amount of voltage going through here. So even if the tree is wet, it's going to break the branch, and in some cases that electricity, that amperage that's rolling through there is going to just ignite a fire. Just a little tree fire.
And then can you imagine, one day you're reading a book in bed, the next day you don't have a roof. Let's take a look now at what happened at Arlington Baptist College after some strong winds rolled through.
This is, we knew the winds were out of the west because this is the only building that actually had some damage with it. It looks like, from looking at pictures in the past from Google Earth, there was just enough of an overhang, Chris, on that west side of the building that the air got under it, lifted it right up completely, and deposited on the
other side of the roof into the parking lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank goodness nobody was there, but we do understand that some minor injuries. And a minor injury was taken on in that college.
And you're talking about the wind getting into places. There's a historic building in the Fort Worth Stockyards area of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it didn't have a roof to begin with, renovations, and the back wall completely blown out and the bricks everywhere.
Right, so if you got a square building, that was the east side wall there near the parking lot. The wind got down through the top because there's no roof.
Right, you
and
can
it
see.
Just pushed, literally blew that wall out. And not just in one piece. It didn't just push it over here or push it off. I mean, it obliterated it and almost sprayed the bricks all over the parking lot. Incredible sight. And too bad, like you said, it was a historic building.
And so we were covering the damage as it was happening, bringing in the pictures here at the Weather Channel. And here's another building that lost its roof. And look at the wall, also kind of, you can think maybe there were cinder blocks or what kind of a wall, and the jagged edges.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
cinder blocks,
pushed in a little bit as well.
Yeah, I don't know if this... well, it looks like the roofing material is on the other side, so I'm thinking the wind probably came in this way, peeled that roof over as well, and then had enough strength to even push, like you said, those cinder blocks, some of the wall itself over. So this was a really strong wind. I mean, you know, this was upwards over 90 miles an hour.
And if you were watching us here on the Weather Channel last night, we showed you live meteorologist Mike Seidel as the storm was blowing through his location. Take a look.
You can hear the roar of the wind coming down US 49. In this part of the county, Phillips County, US 49 runs basically east-west. This wind now is coming in from the west-northwest. You can see the leaves now blowing around. Listen to the roar. Can you hear that back there, Jim and Chris? Wow. What? There we go. There we go. And what I'm hearing now is the wind just roaring through the trees across the street. And now I can feel the cold air. That fall weather has arrived here in Mississippi after all that warm, humid air we've had for so long. Boy, the temperature's now dropped about 10 to 15 degrees. And those winds now gusting at about 30 to 30. Well, look out. There goes the cigarette and the trash can down the street. Wow, this is incredible. You can feel the chill in the air. This is not like a summertime thunderstorm. This is literally the change of seasons here in east central Mississippi. This wind now gusting upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Look at this horizontal rain, leaves blowing everywhere. Woo! Boy, Jim reminds me of your shot down there in New Orleans during the hurricane. Temperature continuing to drop now. We must be down around 60 degrees. I can feel the chill, cool rain still blowing horizontally. Still haven't had a gust, probably over about 40 or 45. We'll sit tight here and see what happens. You can see, looking out here, if you can look out here, you can see the sheets of rain blowing down the street through the parking lot. The power, by the way, went out about a half an hour ago. There's a trash can out here. So we've seen some trash cans blowing down the street and the parking lot and the road. That's the only debris I've seen so far, and some leaves. So far, so good here in Marble, Jim and Chris. But certainly, this is the cold front coming on through right now here in extreme eastern Arkansas. Guys?
Again, that was meteorologist Mike Seidel from last night, and he's out, not wearing a jacket tonight, but we're going to talk to him coming up just a little bit. But that was something else last night, Joe.
No, it really was. I mean, we being on the air live and actually just looking at the radar, knowing where Mike is in relation to the radar, you know, we made the call to say, hey, look, toward the end of the block or toward the beginning of the next block, this guy's going to be in it.
Right.
So we stayed on the air and really watched him go through the entire thing.
And something else is he wasn't using traditional broadcast equipment, which would prohibit him from doing it in a storm like that. So we were able to bring that to you as it was happening last night.
Traditionally, it would have been a satellite dish. We would have had to beam up through that heavy rain. That's where you lose the signal. This was over a cell phone, and it allowed it to happen.
And this, our #2 video, lightning from Austin, Texas.
Sick.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms. Low 75. Chance of rain 50%. Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
Now, Centrum Silver has a new easy-to-swallow coating. So the nutrients for your eyes, heart, and brain go down easier. For a limited time, get your $4 coupon at Centrum.com.
Why do you want to shop at Walmart now for October's hottest items? Because you need to find happiness on Rollback. In every aisle. Get thousands of items, now on Rollback. Save money, live better, Walmart.
How do we get a little fun in the sun for free? I stayed one time.
We stayed another time.
And now we're all staying one night free.
Great endings begin here. Right now, when you book at any of these Choice hotels and take 2 separate trips, you earn 1 night free. Book now at choicehotels.com.
Tomcat bait kills up to 12 mice, faster than Decon. What will we do with all of these dead mice? Tomcat presents Dead Mouse Theater.
Hey, old frick.
Hey, Ignore.
What's up with you?
Funny you ask. I'm actually here to pillage your town.
But we went to summer camp together.
Summer camp is over.
Tomcat. Engineered to kill.
What if there was a credit card where the reward was that new car smell and the freedom of the open road? A card that gave you that I'm 16 and just got my first car feeling. Presenting the Buy Power card from Capital One. Redeem earnings toward part or even all of a new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or Cadillac with no limits. So every time you use it, you're not just shopping for goods. You're shopping for something great. Learn more at buypowercard.com.
Sir, we're loaded and getting ready to go. We're going to need you on the runway.
Don't let a severe cold hold you back.
Sir?
Theraflu starts to get to work in your body in just 5 minutes. Theraflu breaks you free from your worst cold and flu symptoms. Theraflu, serious power.
You know what my business philosophy is, Reynolds?
No, not exactly.
To attain success, one must project success. That's why we use FedEx One Rate.
They're flat rate shipping.
Exactly. It makes us look top notch, but we know it's affordable. Honey, haven't I asked you to please
We
use
don't
the
have a reception entrance.
Ship a pack via FedEx Express Saver for as low as $7.50.
From coast to coast, in every state, people all across the nation are learning something new. That the best way to protect their cars, trucks, and SUVs is with WeatherTech floor liners. They're laser measured to perfectly protect your specific vehicle. Front, back, even up the sides. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. WeatherTech floor liners, proudly made in America.
Right now here on the 7 Eastern edition of Weather Center Live from the lab, we want to show you the #1 video of the day. You saw lightning right before the break at #2. #1, take a look at as the storm was happening. Some rain, some wind, and there's a trampoline. Oof. Just like that.
And here's the slow motion, so you can see it too.
Oh, look at sparks. You see the sparks?
Oh, yeah, the metal.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. See the things you miss. And
right when it's going by in real time.
Speed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, let's just missed that car too, so that's probably a good thing.
Let's take another look at Mike Seidel from last night.
The roar of the wind coming down US 49. In this part of the county, Phillips County, US 49 runs basically east-west. This wind now is coming in from the west-northwest. You can see the leaves now blowing around. Listen to the roar.
So this was Mike Seidel. We were showing this, broadcasting this live for you.
We really could hear that wind. That was the most amazing thing, is to really be able to hear the rain and the wind coming in before it got there.
We showed you this before the break a little bit ago. Yeah, and then a garbage can and the cigarettes on top of it go flying by.
Everything.
Let's go back, though, right now to meteorologist Mike Seidel. He's with Alex Wilson. They're on the road for a fall road trip. Hey, guys, and Mike, you know, actually, for a while there, I think we were a little more concerned about you and the lightning than you were.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, a lot of the lightning was flashing as she was too. Was flashing overhead and in the distance. At the very end, we did have a bolt that came down within a couple of miles, and that's when we shut the Dog and Pontiac down and got into the van. But I tell you, that was really cool last night. You guys back there, Jim diagnosing the radar to a T. I mean, Dr. Greg Forbes has told you well, young man. And you told me exactly what it was going to hit. And a kudos to whoever decided to, blow out the brakes so we could stay on the air and show that to everybody live. You don't get that opportunity very often. I think 3 or 4 times I've had that ability to do in about 20 years of travel on the Weather Channel. So that was just, I have to say, some really good TV. I haven't seen what it looked like. I can't wait to get back and watch the tape.
Okay. Something, Mike, to this cell phone technology, perhaps. The other thing, too, I think, Sarah, was this the first thing you timed out? Was Mike's location?
That was
the
first thing we...
No, we had done Little Rock first and then Mike Seidel, but I was off only by a minute. That's on the east side.
Yeah, Sarah had played a big role last night, too. Let's not forget that. But let's take a look at some of our favorite parts from Mike last night.
Boy, the temperature's now dropped to about 10 to 15 degrees, and those winds now gusting at about 30 to 30. Well, look out. There goes the cigarette and the trash can down the street. Wow, this is incredible. You can feel the chill in the air. This is not like a summertime thunderstorm. This is literally the change of seasons here in east central Mississippi. This wind now gusting upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Look at this horizontal rain, leaves blowing everywhere. Woo! Boy, Jim reminds me of your shot down there in New Orleans during the hurricane.
Okay, so with that, let's take a look now at Jim. As after Mike mentioned that, let's compare the two and show you what it was like when Jim was there and when Mike was there.
Winds that are howling 50, 60 miles per hour. I'm going to ride this one out, guys.
92 miles an hour.
So let's compare this to Mike Seidel last night in eastern Arkansas.
50, 60 miles per hour.
What do you think, Mikey? Same thing?
Edition.
Similar.
I don't know if they can hear us.
And okay,
well, no, you had more wind, but you had it channeled between the buildings. I'm not saying. Hey, that's fine, but we didn't have the buildings, and you definitely had more wind.
But you didn't have the bald
I didn't have
head.
to get down on my knees.
Let's bring in Alex Wilson. She was also very busy last night. We have video of Alex from last night. She was really busy working on a waffle.
Oh, nice, Alex.
Like a
working on a waffle. Looked delicious, Alex.
There's only one word for that. It's called devouring.
If there's
She's devouring that
waffle. I was hungry, and no, that was this morning. If there's one thing we know, Cantori, it's that my biceps are almost as big as yours, and I was charged with holding down the light and the umbrella.
Nice.
I did it.
Nice, nice, Alex Wilson. Very nice.
You got
football team coming down. Here they come. Friday night
really quick, we need to show you the other reason why we're here.
Temperatures in the 60s, heading down to the 40s. This is what it's all about.
All right, I'm going to go get some nachos, guys. I'll see you later.
Whoa. Nobody insures more bikes than Progressive. Do you guys ride?
Well, no.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if you know anybody else who also rides, send them here. We got great coverage. It's not like bikers love their bikes more than life itself. I doubt anyone will even notice.
Leading the pack in motorcycle insurance. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
First, the cookie at check-in. Then, a little weekend to remember. Join us for the celebration package with sparkling wine, breakfast, and a late checkout. DoubleTree by Hilton, where the little things mean everything.
7 a.m. on AMHQ.
Let's get you in front of today's weather.
The biggest weather hour anywhere.
What a gorgeous start.
Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
When the wind blows, the cradle will...
American Supernatural. Premiering Sunday at 10 on the Weather Channel.
When the wind blows, the cradle will...
American Supernatural. Premiering Sunday at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms. Low 75. chance of rain 50%. Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 87, chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Let's stay a step ahead of this. Size up that and stay toasty in here. And let's not do any of this. Let's go to school. Let's go to save. And then let's go to town. So we can enjoy the view and look for what's next. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Get Owens Corning EcoTouch R30 insulation for just $13.98 a roll.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
We're 3 generations of one family working on a piece of land here.
Oh my God, it's basketball!
Is living and facing danger every day.
Alaska: The Last Frontier. New season on Discovery.
I let him know every time I save $1.
Every time.
Now there is a tool made for you. Introducing Savings Catcher from Walmart. It compares prices to top stores in your area. If there's a lower advertised price, Walmart will give you the difference on an e-gift card.
Oh, money!
For a limited time, get 2 times the Savings Catcher reward dollars when you redeem to your Bluebird card.
Every penny. My husband worked at a power plant where the asbestos fell like snow.
My dad got mesothelioma from asbestos.
Oh, the diagnosis was devastating.
We chose Cooney and Conway because they're highly experienced in this area.
They were more than lawyers. They were human beings.
There was no money up front.
It showed my sons that there is justice in the world.
Call 1-800-322-5573. Cooney and Conway. Justice with a passion.
Catch the excitement of the pennant chase on MLB Network. MLB Tonight's analysts bring you live look-ins while breaking down pivotal moments from every big game all night long, plus exclusive broadcasts of 2 Division Series games in October. All the pennant chase drama this September on MLB Network.
Brought to you by Mazda. What do you drive?
Items are shipped to you for just $2 flat. NoMoreRack.com. Everything you love for less.
7 a.m. on AMHQ.
Let's get you in front of today's weather.
The biggest weather hour anywhere.
What a gorgeous start.
Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Right now, it is 50 past the hour. That means it's time for the tropical update. Nobody better here for that than Storm Tracker Jim Cantore.
All right, we're in the lab. Let's open up the floor, bring the globe up. The big story, Chris, which is going to go down this weekend, is Pahanthan. This is a Category 4 typhoon, but potentially on its way to being a 5 before all is said and done. But the point is, it is going to impact Japan in a big way. So we'll talk about that. Let's go ahead, first of all, and let you know what's happening with Simon, because Simon now looks a little more interesting to us because it's going to stay over warmer water. It's going to continue to intensify and then make the turn, potentially even holding enough together to impact the central Baja. So that's something we're going to watch. It's moving over the little island of Socorro right now. That's that little island right there. So the south side of the circulation center is what's moving over. The good news is this is a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm at this point versus a 125-mile-per-hour hurricane. There you can see the circulation, which is pretty decent. All the winds, though, in the peak there are on the northeast side. And interesting enough, as we overlay the cone here, if this stays on the eastern track, you'll notice it doesn't really leave the warm water. So, it may stay stronger than what we have here toward the midweek. But either way, big trough comes down, picks it up, and bodily at least brings the moisture back across Mexico and into the central United States, starting in Texas and New Mexico. All right, here's Pahanthan. This is a monster, 130 right now. You can see this eye about 45 miles wide. Very, very well-defined storm, starting to stretch to the north. It's becoming under the influence of the trough that is off toward the west and through here, and that is what is eventually going to pick it up here. here. So here is what it looks like in terms of the wind field, Chris. There are winds that are at least 70 miles in terms of hurricane force off to the west. So even something that's 50 odd miles offshore is going to potentially impact Japan. What's interesting about this is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's cone goes like this. This is just the best probabilities. All right, right now. But what scares me is both the European and the American model have been consistently taking it and the center right into this little peninsula called the Kai or Kii Peninsula, K-I-I, and I apologize for not pronouncing that right if I'm not, but they're little towns called Tanaba and Goba with very high population areas. That's right there, and then as you can see, impacts Tokyo potentially by Sunday night, bringing all the water up into Tokyo Bay in this particular case. Now, it's going to be weakening. It's only going to be a 90-mile-per-hour storm by this point, but this is Sunday night our time, obviously Monday morning Tokyo time, and then this thing is going to be heading on out. Behind that, we've already got Vongfong. This is southeast of Guam here. There you can see Pahanfin up to the north. This is going to follow right in the footsteps. And what we have to watch out for is this thing to rapidly develop because it isn't going to be too far to the north of Guam, Chris, come about the same time that Pahanfin is going to be close to Tokyo. And it could be producing winds of 85 to 100 miles per hour. So there's Guam. And as you can see, the track takes it very, very close to Guam as we work our way in towards Sunday afternoon, like we saw with Pahanfin for Tokyo. And then it heads off to the west. And the big question is, how strong is it going to get in here? Is it going to intensify rapidly? That's obviously going to be a much, much bigger influence for Guam. But right now, the Westpac is what's got all of our attention in terms of the tropics.
All right, and not in terms of the tropics. What else has your attention?
Yeah, it's Foliage Friday. I asked you guys to send in pictures of all the foliage out there, and it's just been a great year. There's been too many pictures, but these are the two of my favorites today. Aspen snowmass, peak color with first tracks. How sick is that, ladies and gentlemen?
Awesome.
That's what happens when it snows out west at about 10,000 feet here. Awesome, awesome shot. All right, next shot takes you up to Sugarloaf, Maine. A little different situation here. Just a little different situation here. He's on the slopes. There's great fall color.
You can see
but there's no snow.
That's the epitome of think snow.
You hadn't seen that yet.
No, I hadn't.
I can tell by your laugh. But that's why they call them maniacs up there.
Right?
But I love it. Two great pictures and different outcomes.
That's pretty good. Every Friday, send your pictures, your fall pictures to Jim Cantore. Of course, a much different mood here last night on Weather Center Live, tracking some big storms in Texas. However, after the local news crew's helicopter was leaving the scene of power lines down, Interstate 20 with crazy traffic, Jim. This is a time lapse of the sun going down.
It doesn't get much better than that. Now we're losing the water vapor in the atmosphere, Chris, so we're not going to have these big orange sunsets coming up. We're going to need some clouds, some moisture in the air to give us those. So saying goodbye to the pill on a horrible day, certainly for Arlington in terms of the severe weather.
All right, now this is in real time. That was a time lapse to make sure we showed you the whole set. But can you see someone on horseback riding off in the distance there?
I can.
And I
wish
is
it was
going to be
me.
Jim in about 3 minutes for the weekend. But Nick Walker will be back. Let us know the areas he's watching for the threat of severe weather tonight.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe.
Currently in our area, 82 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms. Low, 75. Chance of rain, 50%. Saturday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High, 87. Chance of rain, 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I'm Nick Walker, continuing to watch the storms, what's left of them that moved across the south, now moving offshore from the Carolinas and much of Georgia and Florida, but still watching a few thunderstorms here in South Florida. Look at Interstate 95 between West Palm and Boca Raton. More stormy skies and a lot of lightning with these as well. Get inside a sturdy building. You're seeing all of that lightning move offshore of Interstate 95, but more coming in from the other side of the peninsula will keep much of the Florida Peninsula wet this evening. Watching a lot of wet weather, heavy rainfall moving through South Carolina toward North Carolina as we head through the evening hours, and also Washington, D.C. and Baltimore going to see a little bit of wet weather as well. Looking back toward the Midwest, Indianapolis down to Louisville. We've got some thunder and lightning and some heavy rainfall there. And up toward the north, Duluth, Bemidji, Minneapolis all could see maybe an inch of snow as we head through the evening hours as temperatures continue to cool here. We'll keep a close eye on it. We'll cut in as needed here throughout the evening. Now, weather caught on camera.
A vicious tornado rips through a crowded beach. Trapped in raging winds, desperate for shelter. Skidding into a traffic nightmare.
There's carnage, man.
From a miraculous underwater rescue.
He's alive. He's alive.
To a crushing landslide.
The most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's all ahead on this dangerous edition of Weather Caught on Camera.
Oh, my God.
Oh my gosh, the people have kind of panicked.
An unexpected storm catches a tourist town off guard on the busiest weekend of the year.
That is some serious right there, boy.
4th of July weekend, 2001. Close to 500,000 people have flocked to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for some fun in the sun. Photographer Jim Fail is in town to shoot a bikini contest, but ends up catching something far more flashy on camera.
It was a sunny day. The Cabana Boys had the umbrellas and the beach chairs all set up for everybody. Everyone was out there with their coolers.
It looks like a perfect holiday weekend. Until a threatening thunderstorm approaches the coast from the north.
And out of nowhere came this storm.
But a summer thunderstorm quickly becomes something far more vicious.
When I saw a beach chair go tumbling about 20 feet in the air and out into the water, that's when I really locked in and just started documenting the whole thing.
Less than a mile down the beach, local meteorologist Ed Piotrowski has also been caught off guard by the storm.
As the storms were drifting into South Carolina, they produced lightning and knocked the radar out. So several minutes had gone by, and then we started getting phone calls into the weather office from people who said they had seen some telephone poles had been snapped, trees had been knocked down, and even some people that said they saw a tornado.
When Ed steps outside his office to take a look for himself, he instantly confirms the disturbing rumor.
And when I walked out on the back deck, I was shocked that there was a tornado literally heading directly at our weather office.
Fearing for his life, Ed takes cover with his coworkers.
As a meteorologist, we're trained to get people out of harm's way. But when you're in harm's way, I was scared too. I was very fearful that that tornado was going to be big enough to destroy our weather center.
Hiding in the bathroom, Ed can hear the storm's fury.
There was a tremendous amount of sand being picked up by the winds from that tornado, and it was sandblasting the window.
Ed realizes that Myrtle Beach is under assault by some very unusual weather.